How Trump's Africa ban impacts Africans and diaspora unity. When borders close, truth opens. Today, we're asking a question many people are avoiding. How does Trump ban on Africa impact Africans and the diaspora community efforts? This is not about politics as entertainment. This is about power, protection, and survival. Because when policies target Africa, they don't just affect passports, they expose who is protected and who is not. Let's talk about what this really means. In today's video, I'm going to be driving home four major points. Point one is shared exclusion. When bans were placed on African nations under Donald Trump, the message was loud and clear. African countries were framed as undesirable, unsafe, and disposable. And here's the part many missed. Africans on the continent felt targeted. African Americans and the diaspora felt reminded that Western belonging is conditional. Different locations, same global message. This created a shared political reality, one that unity efforts often talk around but rarely confront directly. Unity does not start with celebration, it starts with recognizing shared exclusion. Point to the illusion of Western security. For many in the diaspora, this moment shattered a long held belief that education, loyalty, assimilation, or silence would protect us. The ban revealed something deeper. You can be born here and still be excluded. You can serve the system and still be disposable. You can distance yourself from Africa and still be treated as an African. This forced a shift. Africa stopped being just history, it became a strategy. Unity moved from emotional attachment to self interest and future planning. That awakening is uncomfortable but necessary. Fear versus political awakening is point number three. Let's be honest, fear followed the bans. Fear of travel, fear of family separation, fear of instability, fear of being stranded. Fear does one of two things in this case: it isolates people or it politicizes them. When unity grew strongest was where Africans and the diaspora began asking critical questions. Who controls the borders? Number one. Number two, who defines safety? And lastly, who advocates for African people globally? Unity stopped being cultural and became political clarity. Right now, we're in a period that could literally make us or break us. This is point four. This moment is testing Pan African unity talks because slogans collapse under pressure. The bans force three real questions. Number one, which African nations offer legal pathways and protections? Number two, what does returnee safety actually require? And number three, who holds power, emotion, or policy? The unity efforts that survived became practical, legal, economic, and strategic, not symbolic, not performative. Real unity isn't about feelings, it's about systems that protect people. Trump era Africa bans didn't just restrict travel, they revealed truth. They showed us who is vulnerable, why unity without power fails, why Africa and the diaspora must think together or fall separately. Unity is no longer optional, it is necessary. It is the necessary infrastructure. If you're ready to talk about Africa, return, safety, power, and truth, You're in the right place at the right time. Just like a diamond, we are purified by pressure, so our brilliance can be experienced. My goodness, now that we've surpassed the garbage in, garbage out, let's talk about the impact and the outcomes. The Trump era bans on African countries have impacts that go far beyond immigration policy. They directly affect Africans and diaspora unity efforts in psychological, political, and strategic ways. And here's how. It reinforces a shared sense of exclusion. Policies associated with Donald Trump send a clear message. African lives, mobility, and contributions are viewed as disposable. These have two effects. Africans on the continent feel collectively targeted. African Americans and diasporas feel rejected by Western systems. This shared marginalization can strengthen unity, but only if it's acknowledged honestly. It exposes the limits of Western belonging. For many in the diaspora, bans like this shatter the illusion that loyalty, patriotism, education, or assimilation guarantee safety or acceptance. This moment pushes diaspora communities to rethink identity, recenters Africa as a necessary political and cultural anchor, as well as forces conversations about self determination instead of permission. Unity grows when people stop competing for approval and start building power. Number three, it creates fear, but also political awakening. Diaspora communities become more interested in African geopolitics. Africans see how global policies affect their people abroad. Conversations shift from unity as a feeling to unity as a strategy. Number four, it tests the authenticity of unity talks. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Some unity efforts collapse when resources, visas, or statues are threatened. Others deepen because people realize we are bound by the same global systems. Bans reveal who sees unity as symbolic, who sees unity as survival and leverage. These bans and these political decisions has thrown us into a situation where we're forced to look at critical questions, especially as it relates to power. Who protects African people? When Western doors close, unity becomes less about slogans and more about citizenship pathways in Africa, legal protection for returnees, Pan African economic cooperation, diaspora voting blocks and influence. As well, unity becomes practical and not poetic. All right, guys, we're at the last impact and outcomes. It's number six. It accelerates the shift toward Africa centered solutions. Instead of asking, how do we stay accepted in the West, the question becomes, how do we protect African people globally, ourselves included? That shift is dangerous to systems built on dependency, but powerful for African futures. Africa enthusiasts. So here's the bottom line. Trump era bans hurt, but they also clarify. They reveal three critical things: who benefits from division, why unity without power fails, why Africans and the diaspora must stop negotiating for dignity. True unity is not emotional, it is legal, economic, cultural, and strategic. And moments like this expose exactly why it's necessary. Thank you for your time, your presence, and for watching the full video. Your support is truly valued and appreciated. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments and engage in respectful, constructive dialogue. These conversations truly matter. Until our next educational journey, I am Loretta Simpson, and this is Be Wise African Network.